You've made many films with Todd now. I wonder if you could tell us about that relationship. It strikes me that he is fond of setting you a new challenge every time.
He always puts me in places I don't want to be. No, he challenges me, and the best directors will challenge. You know, I always feel like a cinematographer is another actor. I'm giving a performance, and he sets up situations that I have to work my way around, and out of that comes whatever we do. I mean, we don't always agree, but someplace we come in the middle, and it's better than what either of us thought. So I don't know. I've been lucky to work with them. It's a children's story. It's about finding their place in the world and how they use their imagination to survive. It deals with the deaf world, and so the metaphor of the silent period, which was written in the book that Brian Selznick wrote, in black and white drawings, illustrations, and then the 70s part was in words. And so Todd's conceit or idea was, how do we create this world from a book? And he always does intensive research, does kind of a lookbook where we look at the social, political, economic, the art world, and the grammar of cinema of those periods. And so what better way to use the silent period in black and white negative that we use. And the 70s, we look to the urban reality grit of New York films like Mean Streets, The French Connection, and Midnight Cowboy. And it was a much rawer look. It was more documentary. And I reached out to Owen Rosman, who was at the height of his work in that period in New York, and I found out the tools, and that was something that Todd always likes to use, is the actual tools that created those images, and it gives it, I think, an authenticity to the world that you've reached these characters with, but mirrored in their deafness. She's the girl, the young girl is deaf. We found her in Utah. She had never acted before. And she's part of the silent period, where her mother's a silent period actress, Julianne Moore. And the boy becomes deaf. So for me, the images are really about how you hear with images.
When you talked about this being shot on film, how important is that to you? What does film offer, over, I mean, the world is increasingly turning digital.
Well, for me, there's a different look to film than digital, and not all films have to be shot on film, but I just think we shouldn't lose that tool to create our stories, and certain stories lend themselves. I mean, for Todd, we're always referencing different time periods. I've worked with him in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and now the 70s. And so we're referencing the cinematic language of the time, and that's why it's important for us to shoot in film to reference those time periods.